Hello and welcome to World of Tanks with me, Jack the Ripper. I'm bringing you a review here on the Super Pershing. I want to show you what I think are its weak spots, its strong points, and how I like to play it, and what I think at least is a relatively good result in it.
Right, well the tank I want to talk to you about, as you probably realise by now, is the Super Pershing, which is this machine here. Now as you see, it's got a full crew, but that's something you get supplied when you get it. And the main thing with this tank is it's not a medium. It really isn't. I see all these people who play it like a medium, and it's not. But it's not a heavy. It's a class of its own, really. And when you're shooting at that, that's a heavy tank. When you're shooting at that, it's back to a medium tank. If you're shooting up here, it's also a medium tank. Basically, you have to learn. You can start playing this like a heavy, but the moment you get into people flanking you and being able to get shots at your side, you haven't got enough armor at the sides that even if you're well angled, they can go, oh, I've got a choice of shooting that or that. Well, I'll just shoot the tracks. It's just easier. The other option, obviously, once you learn it, is these commander's hatches and whatever this thing is. I don't know. I've been told it's part of holding the armor on. I believe that might be correct. I really don't know. A lot of people say it's a visuals thing. It's most definitely not rockets and the likes. Because this tank was in 1947, and I highly doubt they would have tried to attach flares and rockets to a tank in 1947. Bearing in mind those are countermeasures to deal with other rockets, and generally they didn't happen. So yeah, it's a very good all-round tank if played right. I see a lot of people going, aha, I'm invincible, and driving straight at people. Well, you're not invincible. If someone is, people go, lower plate of a tank, yeah, that's where I need to pen, and they'll start shooting at the lower plate. Well, the difference is, as you can see there, that slight little gap, there's an entire tank underneath that armor at the front. I believe the armor is about 110, maybe it'll say here, 110 millimeters or so, or 102, something like that. But there's 102 millimeters bolted on. And it doesn't say here, but this actually does allow me to look at the gun. And you see here, it's not a great gun. It's not bad, but it's not great. If you compare it, hang on, let's get the more in detailed stats. And if you compare these stats, the 170 pen, 7.31 rounds a minute, and 240 damage. Aiming time and accuracy, not. Accuracy does come into it, but aiming time not as much so. More often than not, I'm popping up and taking shots off, as you'll see in the footage that I'm going to put on afterwards. So right, I got them. If we go out, go into tanks. Loading screens. What are you going to do about them? Right, so here we go. Across here, and we get the Pershing, just the standard Pershing. Now the 90mm gun you get on this at the very end, 180 pen, same rate of fire, same aiming time, same accuracy, same damage. 10 more penetration. T26E4 M2. It's halfway in between the two 90mm guns. But it's still less penetration. But it's a lot more armor. I mean, this thing from the front, if you well angled, and well angled on this is not well angled on heavy tanks. One thing I do see is a medium tank can be well angled, but doesn't mean the same as a heavy tank is well angled. I see people who maybe are just used to playing your E75s, your Tiger 2s with a very square slanted armor like this, and they'll sit at a near 45-degree angle. Now in the German heavy that can often work. Not as much when you go against the bigger guns. I've seen people in my an E75 do it to me when I'm in a Jagdtiger, and I just put holes in their side, and they keep wondering why I'm penning them. But in a medium, that side's quite weak. I mean, it's really weak. I mean, you don't have much armor in the first place, and when you've not got much armor, when you've got less than not much armor, it's not a lot at all. And so that is where you want people shooting. Not up here as well. That your turret, yeah, it's okay from the front. That side bit they'll pen, that side bit they'll pen, and if they shoot over the frontal mantle, this additional frontal mantle, should I say, they'll pen that as well. Your commander's hatches and the little raised ridge you see just there, they're both really easy to pen, and if someone knows where to shoot, they'll sit there and shoot at you all day. I've gone against other Super Pershings from the front, and they've just been firing shot after shot after shot, aiming for what is a sort of weak spot here in the machine gun port. You'll see just there, because you see there's a hole. Obviously, they've had to put a hole in the spaced armor to be able to put it there. So the armor underneath is the standard 110 odd, 102. I can't remember. I think it might be 102.2 or something. It's a very odd number. But yeah, so that is the sort of weak spot. But unless you're pretty much face hugging the thing, you're not really going to hit it. Especially if they're angled or something, there's too much of a chance that you're just going to hit the spaced armor. I mean, you have to be aiming directly in on that. Up here, on the other hand, well, as long as they're pointing their turret towards you, got a clean shot. So that's one of the issues you get with that. Now, in terms of speed, you'll see it at the side there. You'll compare it to the Panzer V4. Yeah, it's got like none. But it hasn't got. It's not that slow, but it's very slow at getting to the speeds. I've sat there on Sand River doing 40 kph for a period of time, but it's because I started driving from one side of the map, and I was up more than halfway across it by the time I reached the 40 kph I think this thing's capable of. Not sure if it does say it in these sort of stats. I'll have a look. No, it doesn't say. But anyway, it's relatively manoeuvrable. It does turn quite quick. The turret's not the greatest at turning. It's got a good view range. I mean, I run, as you'll see if I go into equipment, I run coated optic on this machine. I like to use it to spot. I have gun laying drive so that when I pop up my and do not near clutch shots, I'm slightly more aimed than I would be if I wasn't. Obviously, customization, I just use just camos. That's basically all there is to it. And the ammo loadout I have is like this. Now, originally when I got it, I think you get about 15 armor piercing, and the rest are the rest are APCR. Now, the APCR aren't too expensive, and you might think, well, 128 to 213 penetration, that'll get through most things. Yes, if you're top tier, and there's not many tier 8s on the other side. For a Tiger 2, you have to hit it in the side or the lower plate, or probably most areas of its turret. So, okay, that's okay. But then, if you're in a game where it's largely tier 8 and there's some tier 9s, well, you're almost just not going to pen an E75 in anywhere, just at all. It just wouldn't pen, not even through its lower plate. So, you load up a premium round and you'll put a bit of damage into him. But you're only doing at most 300, more often than not, it's around 210, 220. Now, to take off the 1,750, I think, for an E75's health, that might be more than that actually. But yeah, to take off the E75's health with 200 at a time, you're going to need a few shells. You're going to need nearing 10. Now, what if you go across 2 E75s? Oh, bugger me. If you've only got carrying the 10 rounds, you're already screwed. So, yeah, I do carry a healthy amount of premium rounds, but it being a premium tank, it can afford to do so. If you may or may not know, premium tanks, this one especially, I think gets premium matchmaking, or preferential is the term used, and basically means that you are not very likely to get bottom tier in this tank. Middle tier, as in so tier 9, 8, 7, I've had that a couple times. More often than not, unless I'm platooned up with someone else, I get top tier pretty much every game. Now, unfortunately, even if you're top tier, that does not mean that you have got an instant win. I've had situations where my team have left me alone, and I've had to face 6 people, and the thing is, I've taken 3 or 4 of them out because no one knows where to shoot this tank yet, and I'm stabbing myself in the foot by telling you all where to shoot me to kill me. That'll be fun. Yeah. As you see, I've got quite a few premiums built up now. But as a comparison, bearing in mind this is a tier 8, this T23 used to be the tier 9. The T23 used to be the tier 9 medium. And it's dreadful. 75mm of armour from the front. Now this is only one tier difference. 75mm of armour. I can't remember what it is at the side and rear, but I think it's even lower than 75. The turret itself, that little thing, is 75. I mean, 100 guns with 120mm of pen, I'll pen through its blooming turret, through its mantlet. It's just weak as heck. And then the gun on it, the 76. Now, 128 penetration. It's not too bad at tier 5, at tier 6. It's okay. Tier 7, it's getting a bit kind of measly. But as a lot of people say, oh, stop hating on the T23. It's a good little tank if played well. If you play it well, yeah, it can be good. but it's also still bloody easy to kill. I mean, 115 damage. Now, yeah, 18 rounds a minute. But where is it? Tier 7, 87. Stock gun on it, 77 pounder, 18 rounds a minute, 148 penetration, 140 damage. That's the stock. That's the, sorry, it's the one up from the stock gun. The stock gun, 110 penetration, 75 damage, 26 penetration. And that gun, actually, that tier 5 gun, tier 5. If I can go into this, I'm pretty sure there's a version of that on the Valentine 80. So here we go, down at tier 3. 110 penetration, 75 damage, 21 rounds a minute. That gun is arguably better, or very, very similar to a gun on a T26E4. The T26E4 being a tier 7 medium tank that you have to pay for. Yeah. Quite frankly, I would rather go into battle in the T127. But enough of T26E4 bashing. This tank it does have to be played right. If played right, this is a dominating tank on the battlefield, especially, as I say, in its own tier. The tracks are very good at eating shots. The rear, I've actually found that if you do keep wiggling and people are shooting at you from these sort of angles, they won't just pen. I've had quite a few people bounce off the rear end of this, and the turret itself could be quite bouncy. Just remember, if you don't point, or don't always point at the person you're shooting at. Now, I don't mean so if you. I don't mean so this would be from the angle. Don't point. If you're pointing your turret at someone who's over here, don't point it back over this way because you'll give them side shots. You do is you just wiggle like that. You wiggle the turret back and forth, back and forth. It makes it a much harder target for them to hit, especially if they're trying to aim for your weak spots. And also, it makes it much harder for someone else trying to get a side shot at your turret from over here. And I've had it before where I've had 3 or 4 tanks all shooting at me from, you know, in an arc like this. And I've wiggled my turret between shooting, and they take all their shots and they bounce. Once they've shot, you may have to take a shot in the process, but you take your time, you aim, and you fire. And yeah, I think that's all I can cover here without showing you in detail. So I'll move on to a more active clip.
Here you can see, playing a game on Westfield Standard Battle, and I'm in the Super Pershing. Now here I come across a T26E4, and I use this great gun depression to try and put shots into him, and unfortunately that shot goes low. But you could get a quick glance of the gun depression you get on this tank, which is pretty brilliant. And hold down, this is a very, very difficult tank to kill. Here I'm looking for somewhere to shoot, so I take his track off, give him time to get a better shot on him, get rammed by the 3001H, who's quite frankly just being of no help here. I realise the only place I'm going to pen him is his lower plate, but I still managed to bounce the shot. I keep trying looking for a shot. I need to do damage, so I try and put a shot into T26E4. The shot yet again goes low. But well, that's just the RNG for you. Now here I'm aiming for the T26E4, shoot his turret, then I miss, he moves back at the right time. And this is, as you can see, this is not a great start to what ends up being a good game. There's the first bit of damage, 267, which is a good damage roll. This 90mm gun could do a good bit of damage, 230 there. Okay penetration, okay reload. Nothing special about the armour really. Try and put a shot in the little commander's hatch on the top of that Carnarvon, but again bounce. This Carnarvon gives me a nice little side shot. Put a shot through his, take his track out and do his ammo rack, so he can only repair one at once. Put another shot in there, and here you see I keep moving back and forth. I never give him a clear shot, or at least I try not to. Because as much as I've already said in the previous test, the armour might be good on his turret, give them the chance and they will pen you. Yet again, you see someone bouncing off the front of this turret, sorry, off his tank. Now he gives me a shot at his lower plate, not an issue that time, straight on, no angling. Now this T26E4 is suddenly all alone. You can really see where I penned him. Jagdpanther 4 hits me, but artillery hits me, which is something you do find with this tank. You do become a bit of a target. That T26E4 is going to struggle to pen me, so I'm not going to shoot at him at the moment. But I am going to put a dead Carnarvon between myself and him. This means I can concentrate on that Jagdpanzer 4 without having to worry too much. I keep moving because of artillery, keep that wreck between me and the 23, kill the Jagdpanzer 4, and now I'm on to the 23. T23 is taking hit from the VK behind me, and I can start putting shots into this T23, trying to finish him before he gets away, take the time on the shot, low damage roll, and their artillery wrecks me. I repair what I think is the wiser choice, is the gunner, the tracks, I get moving. At this point I've now got a dead commander and I have a dead radio man. Now the radio man doesn't matter too much because if you're using this tank and you're trying to snipe with it, you're playing it wrong. This tank has a good gun, but it's not a sniping gun. It's a medium gun, and it is a very much medium gun. Now here I'm skirting around the outside, trying to find someone to do damage to. Often you'll find people camping back there. Here you can see the Hummel that put a shot in me. I take a quick clutch shot at him, but it misses. I tried to let it aim for as long as I could, but there was, no chance I was going to get a fully aimed shot in before he ran away. Now here they do have a fair few tanks left, and maybe we have more, but working together and working well they could win this, but spoiler, they don't. So here we head to the ridge. I already know the Artie is bailed down there, but if he's bailed down, the chances are he's not got too far, and he's also not going to be able to shoot back up anytime soon. So I'm not too worried about him. I'm aware that I think they have an 87. Now the 87, if he's got the 20 pounder on that, he can really lay some serious hurt into me. Hopefully he hasn't, or if he does, I can shoot him first and quicker. Or at least more accurately. Now here you get a tank destroyer spotted down in the valley. Now you see, I do bring up the map on this, but obviously the map is not full size in the bottom right on this game. Not unlike the PC version. Now here I take a blind shot, imagining he hasn't moved very much, and as you can see I did hit him. I keep shooting, bounce that one. Well, I think it was a bounce. May have just been a miss. Here I keep shooting, I always try and aim ahead. 259, not a bad damage roll at all with that. Now I can't get the shot here, and this guy is the only one left, so I do move over. And you see, here you just see the great gun depression on this tank. It allows me to get the kill there. And yeah, that's that game won.
And as you see here in the final battle results screen, first screen we get, this is just showing, the general. You see, I've got a Brothers in Arms and a steel wall. Now you see down at the bottom, you see the repair costs not too bad. I did take a good 1,000 or so damage, I think, and a lot of crew members killed. The consumables is just standard, and the ammo 6,300, which for the amount of damage done is very, very good. And then due to the fact that it's a premium tank, the money made is very, very nice indeed. Here on the next screen, with a slightly more in-depth look, you can see I managed to get some spotting damage done, but not a huge amount, but any spotting damage is spotting damage. It shows that you're helping your team out. 190 plus 223, it's not a bad amount. More interesting bit is the damage done, and as you can see, it's called the health off the Carnarvon, that T23, and a good portion of health off the 87, and I think that's all the health off the Jagdpanther 4 as well. Which is very nicely done if I do say so myself. Here we see the final battle results page. You'll see there I managed to get 3,685 damage, 4 spots, 4 kills, 1,700 base XP, which is very good. It's a very nice little result to have in that tank. This is what this tank can do when it's top tier. I've done just as much in tier 9 games before, but I haven't really got that to show you, I'm afraid. This tank is definitely got abilities, but I see way too many people play it as if it's invulnerable, and it's most certainly not that. Now I hope that this has helped you out in some way or another, and that this video has fulfilled any questions you have about the Super Pershing, really. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. I'm afraid I've been a bit inconsistent with videos the past week or so. I'm afraid I've had a lot of birthdays come up towards the end of February, early March in the family, and so I've been rather busy with that, and university courses obviously coming to a close for the year, and so I've got exam preparations and all that sort of stuff. So I'll try and get as many videos and things out as I can, but I would rather do what I think is a quality video on a rarer occasion than multiple videos of just whatever I can get out. So I hope that's okay with everyone. And yeah, that's about what I have to say on that. As some of you may or may not have seen, I'm currently running a competition which will be coming to a close probably by the time this is uploaded, or I might leave it open a day or so after this is uploaded just to be sure. And the competition is basically designing the competition. I've been saying for a few videos now that I want to run a competition, and quite frankly I couldn't think of one, so I'm going to let everyone else think of it for me, and I'm going to reward you for it. It's 3k gold is the prize. It doesn't matter what region you're in, I'll find a way of doing it. If you're in some of the more remote regions, I'm sure it can be done. And yeah, that will be just the competition to decide what the competition is going to be. So there will be more to be won, and there will be more chances if you lack the imagination, I suppose, for what it is. It's not an insult. I personally do. I wouldn't be running it if I could thought of something. Another thing that would be worth pointing out, I'm getting quite involved in several of the live streams at the moment. I am a moderator on Cholo's live stream. I'm a regular viewer of C6 and Cobalt Reaper and Soviet Death's live streams. So if you do have Twitch, I recommend getting on their channels. You can see me about. They themselves are very, very helpful. They're very good players. C6 especially is one of the most laid-back people I think I've ever seen. I'm going to link all of their Twitches into the description at the bottom. And I do also recommend getting yourself on the forums. I mean, if it wasn't for the forums, I wouldn't have met most of them. And my late nights staying up thinking of what I'm going to do for a video for you lot would be a lot more boring, and probably a lot shorter, but definitely a lot more boring. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you've made it this far to the end of this video, well done. And I hope to see you on the battlefield.